Welcome to today's special edition of the WTR Small Cap Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Tim Gerdeman, Vice Chair and Co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer of Water Tower Research. For today's episode, I'm being joined by Al Petrie, founder of Al Petrie Advisors, to discuss the upcoming Louisiana Energy Conference, which will take place at the Four Seasons Hotel in New Orleans from May 27 to May 29 of this year. Water Tower Research is pleased to be a sponsor of this year's conference. I'd point out that Al has organized and hosted this annual event in New Orleans for 25 years, a very impressive milestone. The team at Al Petrie Advisors has a long history in internal energy, company operations, financial modeling, and capital markets. The firm provides management and IR advisory services to public and private companies spanning the entire energy value chain. We're also being joined by Jeff Robertson, Water Tower Research's Managing Director for Natural Resources. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Tim and Jeff. Thank you for having us.
All right, thanks for arranging this.
Al, to kick things off, what is the format for the Louisiana Energy Conference and who should attend?
Well, what we try to do is each year we try to look at what's the current key topics that are going on in the industry, and we then develop a series of panels and presentations. And the panel format has worked very well for us. We've probably been doing that for about 13 years now. And in those different panels, we have a variety of public and private companies to talk about key items in the various sectors of the industry. And then we also have these presentations where we have kind of industry experts that then talk about specific topics in each one of those. And last year we had about 500 people, and we're hoping that we'll have about that many again this year.
Oh, that just spoke. I was going to ask you about the size of the crowd, so that spoke to that. Are there different focus areas on each day, Al?
Yes, we try to keep it kind of cohesive on each day. So we start with a lunch on Tuesday, May 27th, and that day is devoted primarily to offshore Gulf of America, and that'll include private companies, public companies, as well as some expert speakers. On Wednesday, we then go to onshore, US, and international. And on Thursday, it's a little different because that's what we call our Future Energy Day. And on that day, we'll have things like LNG, carbon capture, investing in infrastructure, power, AI. So quite a range of things that are kind of all part of the future outlook for energy.
That Thursday should be fascinating. Out of curiosity, do you expect to touch on how the industry is adopting new technology into their business?
Definitely so, because we probably have right now 3 or 4 sessions that's going to talk specifically about AI and how it's being used. And one of the things I enjoy about putting the conference together is that we get to learn a lot of stuff every year by researching this. And some of the things that we see that we'll be talking about during these sessions about AI, people have no idea just how far that's already gotten into the industry too.
Great. And then I'm told that there are several presentations in addition to the actual panel outings. So what are some of those topics you would anticipate will be covered?
Sure. On the first day on Tuesday, we have one by a company called Interjective that's going to be showing how AI is being used in E&P, both on the services side as well as the drilling side. We then have someone that's going to give us a regulatory update for both US and offshore, which I think will be good, particularly with the new administration. We then have NSAI also on that day talking about tech trends in upstream oil and gas and geothermal, because that's becoming a bigger topic in the energy landscape as well. And between Tuesday and Wednesday, we have 2 broader scope, I'd call them keynote type speakers, one from Macquarie, who's one of their chief strategists, and we also have the vice chairman of JP Morgan Private Bank. So they'll be giving us their perspective on the world economy as well as the industry. And like I said, Thursday, we have quite a variety of different panels as well as presentations. One of them is going to be on monetizing tax credits, another one on tax policy updates. We also have a presentation by Entergy, one of the large utilities that's in the process of working with Meta to put a new data center in North Louisiana, and huge power needs that that's going to generate. So we got quite a range of presentations mixed in with the panels as well.
Great. That's been a helpful overview. I will now turn it over to Jeff Robertson to ask some questions.
Pick up on some of the themes and topics. Louisiana is the namesake of the conference, and I think when you originally started this 25 years ago, there was a lot of focus on oil and gas activity in Louisiana. But it sounds like this year's agenda, from what you laid out, has a much broader scope. Will the panels touch on both domestic and international energy issues?
Yes, a little bit of history. 25 years ago, when we started the conference, originally was a joint analyst day by 5 companies that were based in Louisiana. And so that's how we came up with the name initially. And over time, we've grown well beyond that. In fact, we get quite a number of buy side, sell side industries from all over the world. So as a result, we're going to be covering quite a range of topics because we're seeing more and more interest by some of the foreign large companies, international companies wanting to get involved in the Gulf of Mexico, for example. So we'll be having sessions talking about that. We've got a good group of drillers from international. We've got West African focused companies. So we have quite a range. So it's a lot more than certainly Louisiana and a lot more than just onshore US as well, too.
First quarter earnings for the energy industry in general really started last week and almost wraps up toward the end of next week or the week after. But by the time the end of May rolls around and the conference comes up, how much color do you think executives will be able to provide on how they're adapting to the commodity price volatility that we've seen in the market over the last month or so, and some of the uncertainties around tariffs?
Yes, I think that, certainly the companies, because I expect a lot of them are going to be talking about guidance in their quarterly calls coming up. So we'll be able to get some further information from them. What they have disclosed is any changes that they've been making with drilling or, slowing down projects, delaying projects. Tariffs is a real challenge because I am actually working to try to get a external third party that'd be willing to talk about tariffs, but everybody is so concerned. There's so much uncertainty right now that it's really hard to do that. But hopefully by the end of May, I'll have a volunteer that'll be willing to talk, and we will certainly see what we can get from the companies as well, too.
Well, as we've seen just in the last month, tariffs can be on one day and off the next, and on at different rates and off at different rates. It adds a lot of it's difficult for a CFO and a board to plan in that environment.
That's exactly right.
Every conference I've ever been to has always included networking as a key element and really a valuable aspect. How does the Louisiana Energy Conference format provide opportunities for attendees to network and investors and the industry representatives who will be there?
Well, networking is one of the primary reasons we do our conference because, it's enabled me to meet people throughout the industry. And those relationships have helped me for the last 25 years. And so what we try to do is facilitate that networking every opportunity we can. For example, we have 3 evening events each evening, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the 27th, 28th, and 29th. Those typically go, say, from 6 to 8. And that gives people a chance to attend that group session and also to have dinner with other people. There are some of our sponsors that are actually hosting dinners after our reception. We also have lunches, and this year we're adding more formal breakfast sessions where we'll be able to have more of an opportunity there. And one of the things that we think's unique about our conference as well is that when somebody registers to come to our conference, we don't keep it a secret who's there. So once you register, you can literally see everybody else who has registered for the conference. And people love that because that way they can look through that attendance list to see if there's somebody that they know that's there that they want to try to connect with. And they can actually do that through the app that we've developed. So we've gone through a lot of trouble to try to make this as open a forum as, facilitate networking as much as we can.
So from what you're saying, it sounds like there are opportunities for investors to meet with certain management teams who, in a one-on-one format,
yes,
at the conference.
We have that as well too, where investment professionals can request one-on-one meetings with the management teams because we're very fortunate that we do get CEOs and CFOs on our panels. And as long as they can match up availability, which we do that again through our app, so people can request those meetings. and the person who's being requested for the meeting can then respond whether or not they accept it or not. So we definitely, and we provide the rooms for those meetings to take place as well.
I think on your panels, Al, you have roughly 80 representatives from various companies, industry trade groups, regulatory bodies. Apart from those types of attendees, from an investor standpoint, who do you think really benefits from attending your conference?
We have a pretty broad group of people that attend every year that really like the format that we provide, because we'll have buy-side analysts and portfolio managers. We'll have sell-side analysts, and because we're not being sponsored by one individual firm, we get sell-side from quite a range of companies. We also have private wealth management. We have a lot of private equity. We actually have 2 private equity panels, for example. And obviously we have industry people as well, and the advisors to the industry. So it's a pretty broad group of people that we get.
Well, in my experience of having attended over the years, it's a very broad cross section of the energy industry, both in terms of the type of topics that you laid out earlier today, and also the type of investors and company representatives that attend. Al, where can people find more information about the agenda and registration details?
Sure, it's all on our website, and we have a dedicated website just for the conference, and it's www.louisianaenergyconference.com, Louisiana fully spelled out. And when you go there, you'll be able to click on the agenda. The agenda is updated literally every day right now, where we're adding new panelists that we've got. It's got an alphabetical list of all the panelist firms. And I'd like to point out, too, that thanks to sponsors like Water Tower, we're able to put this event on so that it's accessible to quite a number of people at a very reasonable price. All investment professionals, which means, buy side, sell side, private equity, private wealth management, come for free. Anyone who's not on a panel, like an industry participant, they pay and the banquets pay. But other than that, it's free. And the fee, even for those, is only $3.95 for a 3-day session, which in today's world is quite a bargain. But that's thanks to sponsors, like I said, like Water Tower.
Great. Thanks for joining us today, Al Petrie, Senior Partner and Founder of Al Petrie Advisors. And thanks to my equity research colleague, Jeff Robertson, for also joining us today. Lastly, a special thanks to the producer and editor of the podcast, Joe Brunetto. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, as well as visiting www.Water Tower Research to stay up to speed on the company's small cap written research reports, podcasts, fireside chats, and conference schedules. We will see you next time for another edition of the WTR Small Cap Spotlight podcast.